Good morning. It's April 5th. It's Friday. It's the first Friday of April, which means that tonight, Robin and I participate in the first Friday art walk. Not as artists. She plays the mandolin, I play the accordion. We sit there for 3 hours, and we call ourselves My Uncle's Friends. Anyway, today I want to show you how I painted this camping scene. A little camper on the lake, reflecting into the water. And I'll show you how I did that. Oh, I got sun on my face. I'll show you how I did that right now. Good morning. How you doing? It's another day. It's Friday. It's the first Friday of April. And that means that today, or this evening, Robin and I are going to go play music in town on the sidewalk. Isn't that funny? Kind of a thing we do. Well, my paint is all pasty. I guess I closed it up when it was wet. Yeah, we paint. we do the first Friday art walk. Now, I know you know me as an artist, but I'm also a musician. You might know that. And although most of my life, my musical life, has been with guitar and piano, early on in my life, I was the kid who played the accordion. You know that kid. Well, that was me. And so years later, when I got older, I still had the accordion skills because when you learn something when you're a kid, you kind of retain a lot of that stuff. So I took accordion lessons from like the second grade. So how old are you at that point? Like 7 years old? So like 7 years old. And I guess I did it for about 4 years maybe. Is that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Maybe, yeah. Maybe 4 or 5 years. And I took accordion lessons at a music school around the corner from where I grew up in North Merrick. The school was called Balinese School of Music. It was run by a guy named Lou Balinese. And my teacher, however, wasn't Lou. My teacher was a guy named Carl. And when somebody asks me, you know how people always say, who was your favorite teacher when you were a kid? Well, I always say Carl, my music teacher, because he was my favorite teacher. I learned a lot from Carl. Everything I know about music, as far as music theory goes, I learned from Carl. Which is pretty cool. I never knew Carl's last name. A couple times I've asked online if anybody knows who Carl was, and I have never had an answer. Well, maybe now I'll get one. I'm looking for the right green for this little area down here. This looks good. That looks like a good green. Add a little bit of yellow to it maybe. Right here. So I want to put some green right here. Maybe a little darker green. Anyway, so I learned accordion, and so years later, oh gosh, I'm gonna say 2011, maybe 2011. I decided I wanted to play the accordion again, and I still remembered how to. And Robin and I found an accordion store in Clearwater, down near Tampa. So we went there, and I couldn't afford any of them, but there was one I liked a lot. And when I talked to the guy, at the accordion store. He said, well, what kind of accordion do you want? And I said, I want the kind that sounds French. And he said, oh, you mean an accordion that has the musette sound, M-U-S-E-T-T-E. Well, I never knew that. That was one thing I didn't know. So he showed me one that was a rebuilt one. It was an old accordion. And I played it, and it had, I tried to play it. I wasn't really, like everything I thought I remembered a lot, but I didn't remember everything. So I tried to play it. But anyway, I got this, I could hear the sound of it, and it was exactly what I wanted. It was exactly the sound I was looking for. And I couldn't afford it. But anyway, I saved the money, and I eventually got to the point where I could afford it. And it was used, and it was kind of dilapidated looking, but it was still there when I went back. Nobody wanted it because it was so dilapidated looking, but I loved it because of the sound. And I still have that accordion, and I'm going to play that accordion tonight on the street. So like I started to say, even though most of my musical, when I was a kid, I played music in colleges, and when I say kid, I mean my early 20s to mid 30s or whatever. But I played in colleges, and so I learned a bunch of songs, and Robin learned to play mandolin too. She wanted to be part of whatever I was up to next. So yeah, she learned to play mandolin, which is kind of cool. And then her on the mandolin and me on the accordion, we gave ourselves the name My Uncle's Friends. That's what we call ourselves. And so every Friday, every first Friday, except for June, July, and August. So this is April. So next month will be the last first Friday until September. Yep, that's when it was. That's what it'll be. And so tonight we play, and it's called First Friday Art Walk. So even though I do art, I don't think most of the people who see us playing the music realize that I do art, and I kind of like it that way. I just like sitting there. It's kind of relaxing. It's a nice way to, I don't know, just be out in the town, get to see some people. A lot of times people remember us from the old radio show we did, so that's always kind of cool. And we're doing that tonight. Tonight we're doing that. That's my whole message right there. And I like doing it. So this picture is a camping picture. I hope I don't forget to put the camper right there. So I want to make sure I get that in there. But a lot of this picture is water. Everything down here is water. And everything down here is reflections of what's above it. So gotta get it all in there. There's a lot of bushes and a lot of trees in the background here. I might use gouache to get the right color right there. I'm just not completely happy with that, but that's okay. We're gonna do this. Get it right. We get some of that bright yellow. Put it right there. these colors over here. These are trees right here. I guess you can tell that. They're very sketchy, very loose right now, but I'll fix that. And then of course they'll be reflected in the water down here. Yeah, so there's a lot of artists at the First Friday Art Walk, and I do admire them. And what's great about it, you know, from an artist's point of view, is that the styles are so different, and there's not one of them that isn't great in their own way, in their own style. I like seeing the younger ones. I like seeing the young artists. They have new ideas, new approaches, well, not new, but the ambition part is there that we all had, you know, at one time. I still have ambition, but it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not an overpowering ambition. It's just there. My ambition now is just to get a painting done every day. Rob and I do videos, so a painting every day, a video every day. Not really. The video doesn't really happen every day. I shouldn't say that, because it doesn't really happen that way. But see, some of that is just too wet right there. I gotta wait for that to dry. That's gonna take a little while, but I can start here with this. Make the reflection in the water there. Some of the reflection over here. And then over here too. And what's going to have to happen is it has to dry. It's not going to happen unless I let it dry. And then I have to put that camper in there. That's an important part of this picture. You get this very light yellow here. Just get it wet. See, because I have a very bright sky up there. It's reflecting over here. Okay, I'm going to help it dry with my little dryer. Here's the dryer. If you've never seen it, it's a Pro heater. It's really not made for drying watercolors. It's made for shrink wrapping, but I'm going to try it. Not that wet. Okay, I'm gonna go for the gouache now. I'm gonna add. I think I want to try to lighten a little bit the color of the grass right there, and I want to add the white trailer. There's a trailer in this picture, so I'm going to use the very small brush. I'm going to use this as my palette. Let's see if we can get some very, very light yellow-green. So I'm going to take some lemon yellow of the gouache, and the gouache is made by Master's Touch, just so you know who makes it. And take some white. Let's see if I've even used this one before. Nope, it's still brand new. So let me open it. There we go. And let's put a little bit of white on there. Don't need much. And then I'll use the green. That is probably closest to the green I want, and I'll lighten it with the yellow. So the green I picked is called Green Pale. Have I used this before? Yes, I have. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. This is just green. I've mentioned before that I'm not good with remembering the names of all the colors. I basically just look at them and decide. So here we go. Let me get this green and try to make it light green, very light, like a bright green. That looks good right there. Let me just make a little more of it so I have enough to work with. Very light green. And I want it right here. I don't think that's light enough. Let me add some white to it. Okay, that's the trick, but add some white to that. And bring it over here. Right now it's kind of hard to see it because of the paper is still hardly coated with any paint. But now I'm gonna paint that camper. The camper's right there. Let's see. I put way too much paint on there. There we go. Camping is something I've got a great fondness for. I've probably told you that before. However, today, right now, Robin's brother is camping up in in Stephen Foster State Park, which is a park here in Florida that celebrates the music of Stephen Foster. That's the guy who wrote Way Down Upon the Swanee River, which is Florida's state song, which some people don't want to be the state song. That's another story, though. That's for another show. All right, let me grab some of these. These are all gouache. Everything on this page here is gouache. So this is an old palette that I used, but I can reactivate everything because gouache is reactivatable. So I'm going to put the bottom of the camper. It's a very, very small camper. Well, it's not really a small camper. It's small in this picture because it's so far away. Okay, now we gotta get some very dark colors in there, put some shadows. It's all very small. Spread this out a little bit. Yeah, that's not exactly right, but that's the idea. That's the beginning. It's getting there. I'm a little bit. I know I have a lot of work to do on that one. It's just not there yet, but I had to put something down. I have to start with something. You have to start with something. And the good thing about the gouache is I can go over it and improve what I've got there. So this is really a combination of gouache and watercolor. I kind of knew that going in, that I was going to use gouache. Only because I knew that was such a tiny little area right there that needed to have some paint on it. However, the bulk of the picture is watercolor. And I kind of like that the grass is kind of a mixture of different shades of green. I want to keep these trees in the distance very, very faded, like there's a fog going on over in the background, like it's a foggy morning at the makeshift campsite. Foggy morning at the makeshift campsite. You know what I think I'll do? Add some more white to that trailer, make the trailer a little bit more defined. Takes very little tiny little dots of white. And now it's starting to look like a camper. Probably have to come back to that, but what I need to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use the broader brush And let me get a soft one. Just a soft one. And I'll put in some color. Let me clean off the little brush first. Add some of these dark colors here. Let's go back to the watercolor. Down here. Try to remember to get that reflection right there. Up here too can be a little darker up here. I'll water it down. The further in the distance, the more blurred that will be, the more foggy it'll be. And we can go ahead and darken some of this now that that's dried. And try to replicate that down here in the reflection. Okay, very light over here now. Very light, very watered down. Very watered. Whoops, that's too dark. Let's keep it very light. Very super light. Very watered down. Keep pulling some of it up here. It's a little bit too much. Okay. Now let's take that little brush again and try to replicate that trailer down at the bottom. So I'm going to use the gouache again. Try to replicate it, but this time it's the reflection of the trailer. So it doesn't have to be exactly the duplicate because it's got, you know, the different aspects of the water. The reflection is not exactly perfect. You get those little windows in there. That's going to be key here, I think. I'm going to put some vertical lines here just so I have something else reflecting in the water that they're not in the reference photo, but I'm assuming, I'm pretending that there's like a pole there and maybe a bucket there or something there that's reflecting in the water. Make it a little bit whiter. Maybe that'd be better. Right now it's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it. I have to wait for it to dry. Yeah, that looks good. Let me add some white to the line here, just to separate the edge of the water from the edge of the land, and maybe a few lines in the water, using like an illustration technique more than an art technique. So what I mean by that is it's all art, okay? It's not, there's really nothing different, but in the actual photo, I don't really see these little spots of water that are glistening like you see sometimes. The photo I'm looking at, the reference photo, it's very still water, so there's no ripples at all. And sometimes when you're doing an illustration, like for a children's book or for anything really, you can add a few ripples in the water just with some lines of white, or sometimes lines of darkness, lines of black or dark blue, and it'll create that effect you want to create that water look, like right here. And then it gives that illusion of water, you know. And the gouache works nicely over the watercolor to create that effect. Okay, I think the basic composition is done now, but I want to add some details that would probably make this come alive a little better. So, I think what I need to do, let me first clean the brush, because if you let gouache dry on a brush, it could stiffen the brush and make it hard to use. So, clean my brush here, nice and clean. Now, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to use the watercolor some more. I hope it works out okay. And the watercolor will be used to add a few vertical lines and some branches to those trees. And let's see what else I need to do. I'm not sure. Maybe some more dark areas in here and there on the picture. And I think I can probably do it now. The only part that's wet is right there. I'll use that same brush to pick up the water, because that doesn't need to be wet right now. That can be dry. I'll just go ahead and pick it up. Mop it up. Mop it up. Alright, now let's add some branches, some limbs to these trees, and some vertical lines that might not have any sense at all. So what I want to do here is put a little shadow under that tree. Right now it's got no branches. There, put those branches right there. Do you see? See them coming down right there? They're little tiny things. And over here too. Put some branches in these trees. Add a little more depth to some of these leaves. Same thing over here. We can do the same thing down here a little bit. Put some of those branches reflecting in the water. And then also over here on this, the bank of this little waterway here, can be a little darker. Same thing over here. Maybe those windows could use a little bit of darkness. And then I want some foreground stuff happening over here a little bit. Let's put some color in there. Got some yellow, orange. Let's just get some color in there. Come on, where's the color? Come on, a little bit more. Boy, my yellow, I need to keep the pan, the container open because it's so wet. Need to let it dry out. Maybe add like a pole here or something. Maybe there's some kind of a pole here. Maybe the pail here. The only reason I did that is to give a little bit of reflection into the water. There we go. Let me get this a little bit washed out here. There we go. I think that's our camping picture for today. Kind of like it. It's all right. Not too bad. Maybe a little bit more darkness on top of that one little stretch right there on top of the camper. Not sure what that would be. A little defines it a little bit better. Okay. Wash the brush. And then the last thing is to spread out that green on the back. Let's make that looser and just pick it up and spread it around. All right, kids, I think we're done. I'll let it dry and then I'll fold it. But for now, there's our camping picture. What do you think? What do you think? You like it? All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for subscribing. And I'll see you later. Bye.